Hi everyone, my name is Allie and welcome to my channel, and today I'm going to be doing a little book haul, like genuinely just a little book haul of the books that I got for my birthday. My birthday was last weekend. It was March 25th. I turned 28 years old and I was fortunate enough to be able to get a few books for my birthday, so I wanted to share them with you all. I'm really excited about them, and I think like for the first time ever, every single book in this haul is a paperback. I love paperbacks and I've definitely gotten more into them as I've gotten older, and I just have like a huge appreciation for really great paperbacks. So I'm super excited to show you all the books that I got for my birthday. And we're going to start off with two books that I got from my Amazon wish list, which was super sweet. And these books actually came from the author herself, and that is Just My Type and Lease on Love by Fallon Ballard. And oh my gosh, I was so shocked when I got these books in the mail because A, I was not really expecting anyone to get me anything from my wish list, and B, I was definitely not expecting for the author of two of the books on my wish list to get me anything from my wish list. It was just so random and unexpected, and I really appreciate it. I think I have the card in here somewhere. Yeah, I do. Here we go. Here's a little card that it came with, and it says, "Hi, I hope you enjoy Lease on Love and Just My Type. Thanks for sharing your love of books, from Fallon Ballard." And that was just so sweet of her to even think of getting me anything from my wish list. And I'm so excited about these two books. I actually saw this book in a Target about like maybe a year ago, maybe less than a year ago, and I really wanted it, but I didn't end up getting it at the time, so I put it on my wish list. It really called to me, and I'm so happy to have these two new romance books, because I don't typically go out and buy myself romance books all that often. I typically end up listening to them as audiobooks, so that's usually why, but I do like to have, you know, a little romance book on hand. It seems like it's going to be this kind of like opposites attract romance, and I was really intrigued by the fact that the main heroine is kind of going through this job transition and life transition and is trying to get back up on her feet, and I can definitely relate to that, so that was why I was initially drawn to this book. And then Just My Type, I love this cover too. Like, she just got so lucky with these covers. And this one seems to be a second chance romance, and it follows these two journalists, which will be really intriguing to read about because I did take journalism in high school, so I might know a thing or two about journalism. So this one also really spoke to me as well, and I'm so excited to read both of these, and these will be perfect for like spring and summer. So technically this next book, and actually these two next books, were not for my birthday, but I did get them since I last did a book haul, so I figured I would include them. And the first book is A Certain Hunger by Chelsea G. Summers, and I feel like I've talked about this book a couple of times on my channel, but I don't mind talking about it again because basically this is like I just realized this also follows someone who is technically a journalist, but this main character is a food critic, which I guess can count as a journalist, and it also has a lot of like horror elements. I don't know how much I can talk about what this book is about without spoiling it, which I guess I've already kind of spoiled it for myself then, because the back of this book doesn't really talk about some of the main points of what I know the story to be about. I will say, I will read the last paragraph of the synopsis. It says, "A satire of early foodieism, a critique of how gender is defined, and a showcase of virtuoso storytelling, Chelsea G. Summers' A Certain Hunger introduces us to the food world's most charming psychopath and an exciting new voice in fiction." It's gonna be interesting. I'm really excited to read this book, and actually Olivia from Stories for Coffee was the one that I saw. I think she read this book and liked it, and I was like, ooh, that sounds really interesting, and I trust her recommendations. And I've also been kind of looking for more books that have to do with like this sort of vibe, so I was really intrigued to pick it up, and so I did. The next book is one that my mom actually got me from Target, and this is In a New York Minute by Kate Spencer. I have literally never heard anybody talk about this book ever. I'm sure that people have. I don't want to say that no one has, but I personally, from the people that I follow, have never heard about this book. And I was very, very intrigued by the cover and of the back. And it sounds really intriguing, and I love books that are set in New York. It's like one of my favorite settings, and I feel like ever since I like first went to New York back in October 2021, was that when I did that? I can't remember. It's been so long. Yeah, 2021, time irrelevant. Ever since I actually visited New York, I have fallen in love with it even more. So I just am always really attracted to books that are set in New York. Again, another main character who is struggling with her career, her job life. It says, Franny Doyle is having the worst day. She's been laid off from her job, the subway doors ripped her favorite silk dress, and now she's flashed her unmentionables to half of Lower Manhattan. And then she ends up meeting somebody on the subway who comes to her rescue, and unbeknownst to both of them, somebody else, like another stranger, posts the story online somewhere, and it becomes like a viral sensation. Like everybody is like really intrigued by this little meet cute, and I feel like this is going to be like kind of a riff off of some of the discourse that happened, I want to say back in 2019. I feel like it was before the pandemic, because it was, I remember there was this tweet or like this thread of this woman who had this meet cute or something, or like some sort of like interaction with this man, fell head over heels for him, thought that they kind of were on the same page, and ended up like kind of a little bit stalking him. And I feel like there was a few other threads of meet cutes back in like 2019 that might have inspired this book, or like at least inspired the idea for this book. So I don't know if that's necessarily true. I don't know anything about this author. I don't know anything about how she wrote the book or where she got the idea from, but it sounds eerily reminiscent. So I'm really excited to read this book and see if I enjoy it. It sounds kind of actually like it's written similarly to a lot of the books that I liked to read back when I was in like middle school and high school. Like I read a lot of shopaholic books, I read a lot of Make Habits adult books, so I'm kind of getting that vibe from this one. Okay, so these next couple of books, actually the rest of the stack, are books that I've gotten for my birthday. I got 2 of them from the Barnes & Noble in San Diego, and then I got 2 of them from the Barnes & Noble in San Luis Obispo, and 1 of them from Target. So these 2 books are the ones that I got from the Barnes & Noble in San Diego. If you remember, I went to San Diego about a week before my birthday, and I got some birthday money, and I was like, you know what, I want to go to Barnes & Noble. And I picked out a couple of books while I was there because I have been wanting these for a while, and they've been on my list. Actually, they were on my Amazon wish list for a while. And that's kind of my favorite thing to do, is put books on my wish list and then buy them in the future from like Barnes & Noble or Target or wherever. Okay, anyway, these are the 2 books that I picked up. The first one was Black Swans by Eve Babbitt. I thought I saw a bug. I know that her work is really popular, and it just like kind of speaks to me in that same way of like where books that are set in New York speak to me. Books that are set in LA also speak to me, and speak to me on like kind of a different level because I grew up in California. I've been to LA many times, so it just kind of feels a bit more personal. And I think because of Daisy Jones and the Six, kind of like that resurgence of my love for that, I have been really into LA in the 60s and 70s. So that's going to be really interesting to read about. I know that Eve Babbitt writes mostly about that era. So I am really excited to read this book. I think I'm going to absolutely love it. It says, a new reissue of Babbitt's collection of 9 stories that look back on the 1980s and early 1990s, decades of dreams, drink, and glimpses of a changing world. Black Swans further celebrates the phenomenon of Eve Babbitt, cementing her reputation as the voice of a generation. Okay, 80s and 90s, which I still love. That's kind of like my mom's era. She graduated in 85, so I think that that's going to be really interesting to read about as well, and I love this cover so much. The second book that I got from that trip was All About Love by Bell Hooks, And I have been wanting to pick this book up for so long, for literally ever. And I just never really go into the nonfiction section at Barnes & Noble. But this time I was with my brother and we were just kind of goofing around in Barnes & Noble. So we were going through like most of the sections in the store, and I actually caught a glimpse of this book and I was like, you know what, I really want to pick that book up. I think that now is the right time, and I decided to buy it. And I'm really, really excited. Another cover that I absolutely love. And this one says, "The word love is most often defined as a noun, yet we would all be, hold on, I can't read. Yet we would all love better if we used it as a verb," writes Bell Hooks as she comes out fighting and on fire in All About Love. Here, at her most provocative and intensely personal, the renowned scholar, cultural critic, and feminist skewers our view of love as romance. In its place, she offers a proactive view ethic for a people in a society bereft with lovelessness. I think that this is going to be a really interesting and thought-provoking book, and I think it's also really timely as well. Because look at the world around us. I feel like this is going to be a really necessary read, and so I'm really excited that I finally have it. The next two books are the ones that I picked up at the San Luis Obispo Barnes & Noble, which I love. And the first one that I picked up was The Woman Destroyed by Simone de Beauvoir. And also these books were in like the buy one get one half off sale thing that they usually do. And surprisingly, this time I went to Barnes & Noble, they had so many books in the buy one get one half off. So many. And they were so good. Like, it was a little weird because typically when they have those tables of books that are like buy one get one half off, I can only find like one book that I actually want. The rest of them are just like either books that I already own or books that I don't want to read. But surprisingly this time, I don't know if it was my birthday, I don't know if it was like the universe coming into alignment, but I wanted so many of the books that were in that like sale thing. I just felt so lucky. So I ended up picking up this one, and I really can't explain too much of what this is about because it really doesn't have a synopsis. All it says on the back is, "In 3 immensely intelligent stories about the decay of passion," says the Sunday Times London, Simone de Beauvoir draws us into the 3 lives of women, all past their first youth, all facing unexpected crises. Enthralling as fiction, suffused with de Beauvoir's remarkable insights into women, The Woman Destroyed gives us a legendary writer at her best. So that's like as much information as this book gives us and that I can give you. But I think that it's going to be really interesting, and I've seen so many people read this book and love it and recommend it, and so I feel like I am going to love it too, at least I hope so. And I don't know, it just sounds really interesting, and I've been wanting to read this book for quite a while. The second book that I got from that trip to Barnes & Noble was another Eve Babbitt's book, Sex and Rage by Eve Babbitt. This is a novel, and what does that say? Beltrist book pick. I don't know what that is, but it is also an NPR Best Book of the Year, which is great. This is a book that I actually heard about from a non-booktuber back when I was going to do this video where I read recommendations from non-booktubers. I can't remember who it was. It wasn't Tess Christine, but it was somebody very similar to her. But now I can't remember who it was. That's so weird. I might have to go back. I'm sure that I have it saved on YouTube, so I can totally go back and like insert a clip or something.
Next book, ladies. The next book that I want to read is Sex and Rage by Eve Babbitt.
But I have been wanting to read this book for quite a while, and I decided, you know, it was right on that table of the buy one get one half off books. And I was like, you know what? We're just gonna pick it up. We're just gonna read it. This is the right time. Okay, so this is the one that's set in the 70s. This says, "The popular resurgence of Eve Babbitt continues with this very special reissue of her novel, originally published in 1979, about a dreamy young girl moving between Los Angeles and New York City. Sex and Rage delights in its sensuous, dreamlike narrative and its spontaneous embrace of fate and work, and further solidifies Eve Babbitt's place as a singularly important voice in Los Angeles literature, haunting, alluring, and alive. This has like so many of my buzzwords. Oh my gosh, sensuous, dreamlike, haunting, alluring, alive. Like, these are huge buzzwords for me. I'm so excited. I'm so ready. I'm pumped. I'm just like, I can't tell you. As much as I think I'm going to like Black Swans, I think Sex and Rage might be a favorite. So I am really excited to see how I feel about this book. And the very last book that I actually got from Target as well, and I did start reading it, but I have not finished reading it. I only read a couple of pages, but even then I do think that it is starting off to be a really great book, and I think I'm going to love it, and that is 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. So I have been wanting to read this book for so long because I've heard so many good things about it, and it just seemed like one of those kind of romance books that I would absolutely love. I really, really love just like a romance book that feels a little literary fiction-esque. I need kind of both of those genres at the same time to really fall in love with a romance book. That's why I just eat up books by Emily Henry. That's why. But yeah, I am so excited to continue on with this book because it is so funny. And the only reason I didn't read more of this book was because I was trying to read it in the car and I ended up getting car sick. So yeah, it would have been worth it though. Honestly, it would have been worth it because this was so good. On the back it says, Eva Mercy is a single mom and best-selling erotica writer who is feeling pressed from all sides. Shane Hall is a reclusive, award-winning novelist who, to everyone's surprise, shows up in New York. When Shane and Eva meet unexpectedly at a Black literary event, sparks fly. But what no one knows is that 15 years earlier, teenage Eva and Shane spent one crazy torrid week madly in love and have been secretly writing to each other in their books ever since. Over the next 7 days, amidst the steamy Brooklyn summer, Eva and Shane reconnect. But Eva's wary of the man who broke her heart. Before Shane disappears again, she needs a few questions answered. With its keen observations of creative life in America today, as well as the joys and complications of being a mother and a daughter, 7 Days in June is a hilarious, romantic, and sexy as hell story of two writers discovering their second chance at love. I am really, really excited to read this book. It sounds so good, and I think I'm going to be obsessed with it. I can already feel in my bones that this is going to be a new favorite. Alright, these are all of the books that I ended up getting for my birthday, and they're so beautiful. They're so gorgeous. Oh my gosh, they're falling. They're falling. Oh Lord. Oh geez. So yeah, these are them. I got 9 books. I think that that's a pretty great haul. I feel like I love a good short book haul. Sometimes we don't need to be talking about 20,000 books at one time. Especially for me. I remember those bigger book hauls that I would try to film, and oh my gosh, I would be literally drained after that. So it's nice to have like a little stack of books and not have to talk for like an hour. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed getting to see the books that I got for my birthday, and thank you to anyone who sent me birthday money. That was so sweet. I really, really appreciate it. Also, the sun is going in and out of the clouds, so the lighting is changing drastically, which means I should probably stop filming. So if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Also, go ahead and follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Goodreads, Storygraph, TikTok. All the links will be down below, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye! Ooh, I thought it'd be me and you. Oh.